Welcome back, everybody. It's time for the last map of the night and the last map of the night yet again. Today, yes, today as well. We're going to go back into compLexity and Selfless. We just saw compLexity sweep Selfless on their CT side of Cobble. Pretty unforecasted territory.
Yeah, no, it was smooth sailing in that sense from compLexity once we got to the T side. We had higher hopes for Selfless, obviously, after seeing the CT side. That showed promise. Then it all came falling apart, sadly. I guess, again, one promising sign is that we're going into cash. It's familiar territory for both teams. So, there's always hope of actually seeing something more coordinated on the T side here.
Absolutely. And even though the storylines of the two teams kind of allude to probably something different happening.
Yeah, it's pretty grim. I mean, it is. It's gloomy.
It's gloomy, but I think Mr. Marine or Dazed, he said it very well when he said, they're looking for that all-elusive second win, the second dub of the season, and rightfully so. I mean, they need to secure a victory here because odds of them securing one against like a SK, a Cloud9, or any of those middle to higher-ranked teams,
big.
It's not as nearly possible.
Yeah, especially considering the fact that compLexity, first off, they're a team that's been struggling all season, and they just brought in a new player, right? So in many ways, you're not going to find, I guess, a more evenly matched opponent in that sense, because Selfless are obviously just changing lineups from day to day. So, if they can run into an opponent who's doing the same thing, that's, something you have to take advantage of.
Out here in NA, where we change lineups
spread and butter
day to day. I'm kidding. That's not entirely true, but we found him. He was in the parking lot. We cooled him down. We've got Eric de Beer Stromberg standing by with a little bit of cash. Take it away, Eric.
Woo! Every time I see compLexity, I'm going to say, Warden, hello. You remember the Ric Flair chop? Can I ever see Ric Flair on TV? I don't know, but it's great. I missed the Ric Flair chops. I want to see more of that. As we see from Android, now this play, I like the smoke play, but at this point, stop throwing nades. You know they're coming to the bomb site, and you got extremely lucky that Destiny missed a complete whiff, point blank, but he managed to get 2 kills, and they managed to somehow scrap their way back in the round. Good job. Nice bait setup. But again, they're rushing that close. Throwing the nades that deep is not even useful, and gives away your position. Now this round, the B was kind of working, but they won a lot of rounds on retakes and clutch situations in B. So they decided this round, Android, going to take middle, take one part of the map away. If they take B, let's push through vents and retake. And it works great because Android gets 2 kills and he cleans up the round. And good job by compLexity. They're showing signs of life, guys. I think Jason Lake's giving them a 1-2, getting them into shape. And let's see a little more map wins from them. Back to you, Stana.
Hey, thanks, Eric. So, no BS. Their Selfless was at 10-5 at half in their favor. And they lost.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to go into cash. Give me a quick prediction in that.
Quick prediction for that. compLexity has been looking strong on it lately. Outside of EPL, they've actually gotten, a couple of wins here, especially versus, most recently versus Luminosity as well. So I'm actually going to favor compLexity, even though they're playing with Slemmy today.
Well, you know what? I think either way you look at this one, it's a risky prediction. So we're going to give it over to Blue and Daze. You're going to take it away.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, it's to cash for our last map of the evening here. It's Cobble and Cash once again. It's been a while, actually, since we've had that combo pushed together, but we're back to it again for these two pretty low-level North American teams here in the Pro League. But as we saw there, I mean...
Whoa.
What?
Low level? Did you just see the type of CS we were just watching?
Oh, no. I mean, I don't know, man. Some good stuff,
There's too many
plays.
teams in this league, man. I'm telling you. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's
too many teams, too many matches. We got like 30 matches that they play.
A grind, man.
Yeah, it's got to be more like football. You got like 16 matches. It's fine. That's enough.
You got to grind for that view at the grand finals. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Top 6. Got to work your way up there. You got to get like 15 wins or something like that now to be able to.
Yeah,
be
but the bottom like 4 teams combined for 3 wins in the season, and they only get it against each other. So it's like. It's like if you're just decent, you're just gifted like 8 wins off the bat.
And they still get prize money too.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is.
Just get the Pro League, dude. That's the ticket to freedom.
And you don't even have to work for it. You just join an org that already has a spot somehow, like Winter Fox. Just hey, this is our spot now. You know that thing on Reddit where it's like you know, I made this, and they just like take it. Like, I made this. Yeah, that's what happened with Winter Fox. It's just like, this is my spot now. This is just mine. Sorry, guys that worked for it and got here. Denial with XP3 and stuff. This is mine now.
Getting back into the actual match. Selfless on the CT side and compLexity over on the T side. We are going to see just a 3-2 split on the opener here. compLexity trying to make some noise over at B, but the bomb itself is definitely swinging into A. It's like already fully committed to Squeaky Hall, and they've got one guy in A main. They do have, however, excuse me, no one in A main. They do have a guy close up in A main too, so he's going to be able to detect that. But they, again, causing a lot of confusion on the Selfless side of things since they still have the 2 players pressuring into B, but that's going to halt itself now. We even have Nifty moving out towards the mid garage to try and knock out Slemmy too. He spots it though and is able to avoid combat as compLexity go out through Squeaky and have an open A site to plant on, but they're in a 4v4 post plan, and Surreal trying to hold himself out here too is knocked out by CJ, which opens up a pathway for them to push back in. Still a moment before Slemmy actually gets back in towards A main and is actually able to help out with on the site. They've only got Death, but he got one, looking for more. He's got a few of them quite low, and he's going to be able to get a second one. They throw, I think someone throws their pistol at him, but it lives itself into a 2v2. Now a 1v2 with Slemmy trying to clutch, but they know he's in A main already. It's only a 3-second defuse, so Selfless, they pull it off, and it's going to be close on this defuse, but they will be able to get it. And indeed, Selfless went out the pistol and start off 1-0 tonight.
Much needed by Selfless because Cash is actually one of compLexity's better maps, I think. And, you know, judging by the way Cobble went, they need as many CT rounds as they could get.
Yeah, it was looking good there for a moment. The guys on Cole to be able to hold on to that one, but
shots.
Boost, good job holding on and supporting his teammate there. They're able to be able to win out that round and win the much-needed advantage. compLexity got the plant, though, so they don't really invest too much besides a couple upgraded pistols and a smoke flash combo on Slemmy. More than likely, after some delay here to make sure they just don't get outright pushed by Selfless, they'll group up and try to get that smoke into one of these crucial block-off points on probably, I would imagine, the A site, since it'll be a little bit easier to funnel into. And then just look for the second plant so that they can full buy in the third round with you know, utility and everything, not just the AKs. So Def being the one to swing up here towards mid and get some control there. Nifty's also spotting quite a bit of this, and I'm actually wrong. I thought they were just going to go directly to A. They actually go for quite a heavy amount of mid control here. Nifty dinked, finished off as well by Android. Caboose is going to be here, but he doesn't realize how quickly they swing up upon him. All of a sudden, it's a 5v3. They are going to have an M4, and if they want to go through Z, they can even get an op too. Or excuse me, no, not op. They can get a scout to work with as well if they want to try to go and pick that up. CJ, however, is watching out for that, so that won't be the most well-advised thing to try and go and pick up here. As CJ does start to swing back out, he may be able to find Def in a moment. Def, unfortunately, looking in the wrong position, so they lose that M4 pretty quickly, but now they're moving out to execute with that smoke and try to get control over here of the A-bomb so they can find that plan. That was the overall goal of this round. And Dizzy plays forward, picks up one, lost in the smoke, however, and having some trouble to lock down a second target, but he finally gets it, then gets traded up by Android, putting this into a 2v2. Now they can finally go for the plant and focus on actually trying to just get any additional kills or maybe even outright winning the round. That may prove to be a little bit difficult here. Surreal is going to get mollied out of coverage, and ZQK takes him down. Android hunting for headshots here. He does find the UMP on the ground, but it's out of ammo, but they're not pushing him too heavily. He's given time to reload, but CJ is going to roll in from the backside, take him down, and Selfless will still win out the round.
Yeah, ZQK actually did a good job of staying alive there and waiting for CJ to flank him from either up top or just wrapping around default. But a very successful round by Cole nonetheless. I mean, they get it down to a 3v5. They get the plants. They have a great purchase available to them. Better weaponry than even the CTs have. And if they win this round, they are going to be on a save. Selfless will be. Or, you know, a force buy with like 1,500. They're not going to have much money at all.
So let's see, close that here again. CJ just goes right around the back. It's the easy pickup there, but indeed they did find that second plant, so Selfless themselves will have to reinvest very heavily into this round, and it's actually going to cost them quite a bit more likely. As you mentioned, they're saving after this one if they lose it. Same for compLexity, however. So the stakes into quite a large margin for both teams, as it would allow Selfless to propel forward and hold a good lead to start off their CT side, and they're going to need that with the way they played T side over on the last map. And for compLexity here, it allows them to bounce right back and they themselves to pick up as many T rounds as possible before they get over into the CT side, where they really just dominated Selfless over on Cobblestone. But slow to start for compLexity after getting that very fast mid control. Def being the one to kind of move back up here, and he actually does dodge Dizzy he hasn't seen his head peeking up either from the top of the catwalk, so he'll be able to stay up in that position. Caboose, obviously, from behind the smoke isn't going to be able to spot all that much, but there's the peek from Def now from behind the shed. He finds Dizzy. There's no truck players to worry about. He should have been able to see Caboose's backside peeking out a little bit there, and indeed we'll be able to punish upon that too, so it's really quick, really clean into the A-bomb state, and there's actually not a whole lot that ZQK, CJ, and Nifty are even going to be able to do for the retake. They already lost ZQK, and they still have like players in mid and whatnot watching out for flanks. So there we go, already 2 dead. Nifty's hiding out at sandbags. He'll try to flash back out, but Slummy's able to push right up, finish him off, and there you go. compLexity went out the first gun round in a very clean fashion.
Yeah, so they take mid control, they get up highway. Dizzy should have had a free kill on Def. I mean, the molly forces him out. He just doesn't realize he's there, I guess. But of course his teammate knew he was there because he threw the Molotov right on him. So questionable play by the A players, forces Selfless into a save at 2-1 for compLexity. compLexity won that round very clean as well. Nice shot by Desi. It's crazy because these compLexity guys are actually like pretty skilled, and they have a lot more skill like in general player to player, I think, than Selfless. Although I do think Nifty might be the best player in the server actually. But just as a team, like they're usually just such a mess. But now with Slemmy, maybe he'll fix a lot of those issues.
Android now moving in, and they're, again, not over pushing this, not playing it too aggressively, and just running into these big pistol stacks from Selfless. They're giving themselves, you know, all of the extra time they need to play this out and make sure that they save all the gunpowder so they can actually build up an economy. So this isn't just kind of scrapped together. Caboose, however, the nice shot wide in the open and mid, but still able to find it. And for some reason, nobody's paying attention to Tree Room, so Dizzy can kind of sneak up there and find Desi, taking him down. Still a 2v3 against full gunpowder with no one on the CT side having anything. That'll change now, though, since Dizzy found the AK, but I think they realized it as he fell back. So Def tries to spray into it. It's not going to get the full kill. He survives the encounter with about 30 HP, but now he's falling back, and for Caboose, he's really just going to try and line up for any more exits that he may be able to get on players traversing through the useless room. Or actually, no, that'll change up his own position now as he'll just boost up. And he can find an extra AK too, so good job for himself as on scavenging these weapons. Now they actually need to make sure they make another round alive with them, and they will, because compLexity are still a little bit weak themselves, so they all just hide out in Sunroom after the end of the round.
Yeah, so compLexity, even though they lose that AK, I mean, are those 2 AKs actually, right?
Mm-hmm. It's 2 AKs and both of them go into the hands of
shot by
players.
Caboose. That's like a really tough shot. Caboose can hit some bangers, man.
And off of that, obviously, we see the full buy coming back in here for Selfless now, allowing for 2 additional rifles that may or may not be able to be bought back in. Or at the very least, allowing for utility to go up behind those now. Still no op, unfortunately, for the CTs, so we're not going to see that coming into the picture. compLexity going for what appears to be a very straightforward play, though, on the opener. Everybody inside of A-man already. Android just watching out for flank pressure against them. Desi being the one to enter through the squeaky hall over there. So they're ready to go for it, and they're pretty much just going to send all their players in. On the site, they've only actually got 1 guy from the CT side to defend it, but there's another on Toxic, another one further back down, but Dizzy just goes for a wide crossover towards Quad when there's no smoke or anything covering it, so he gives himself away. It's Surreal getting that first kill. Caboose did go up the ladder and is now waiting, but the smokes are covering off too much, so he can't actually also really spot all that much unless they go really far back against the fence. On Quad there, gives them access to the site, gives them the plant. However, they have not been able to clear out that portion of the site as you look back towards truck and highways, so this still gives a little bit of room for Selfless to attempt a retake. So far, though, things have not gone too great. They've only traded out for 1 frag, and they're really not restricting any of the presence towards Quad or, you know, Forklift at all here. So Surreal's able to push forward, take down CJ, and it's all up to ZQK, who wants nothing to do with this 1v4, and is also falling back to save now, giving compLexity their 3rd round.
They're just going to come back and save at triple. And that A take, Dizzy's having a lot of trouble holding that. He tries to smoke quad, molly door, but he misses his quad smoke and is under a lot of pressure.
Catches Slimmy at the very least.
Yeah, and once he missed that quad smoke, he kind of peeked back into it and just gets destroyed by, I'm not sure who that was, if it was Desi, maybe? It was a nice shot. Whoever killed him.
So obviously won't be enough money coming off the full buy there from Selfless, and then still even, you know, building up a losing bonus here for them to try and justify forcing up behind a single AK save. So they'll just have that to play with. CJ gets destroyed on an aggressive peek from Desi, and Def is the one that actually go over the boost and finish it off. Nifty though with a nice trade, actually finding Desi back at him. He also spots Def in the cubby right around here. And Android, well, he tries to go out and takes down ZQK, but is traded out by Caboose. They don't have any additional presence sitting in there, so Caboose is able to retrieve the AK. They did lose their second AK, though, and Def trying to take this slowly, but he actually ran out of ammo. Thankfully had good coverage to get over there behind the, okay. Had good coverage to try and get himself behind the vents, but then his teammate pushes back out, and when he repeaks, he goes down, so somehow Selfless went out that round.
Wow. I mean, they didn't even have armor. ZQK only got 1 kill. He was the guy with armor and the AK. Nifty just, I don't know, man. Just doing work over there at that highway box. I don't know how we killed Desi. That was pretty crazy.
That first trade started, and for whatever reason, compLexity just kept throwing players at the problem, thinking it would work, and well, Selfless just added more and more to mid, and it worked out great for them, as they didn't really have to do much. They just had to play to these basic positions in mid, and compLexity just kept going out into the open, and they were able to trade it all the time.
So default comes out from compLexity. Android pushing back B, checks above the box. They have Surreal opping into the door. Potential 4v5.
Good shot to find Nifty early on there, and he hopes for a lucky second one onto a player onto the site. Won't work out this time. Desi did spot Caboose, however. Caboose will play this smart. He just falls back and closes the door on the way, restricting the presence that compLexity can hold over this A site for right now. And they still also have Dizzy pushed all the way inside of A main, right by the lockers right now. So he's going to cause, hopefully, for compLexity a few, or hopefully for Selfless a few problems to these guys that will try to push to A main. But Caboose himself is unable to hold over here, and Dizzy, well, I take back him being in really trouble at all. His Def just leaps up on top of the box and knocks him out, and it's a full 5-man alive round for compLexity at the end of everything. As we go into what I believe will be the first tactical pause for Selfless.
CQK might have lagged out or something because they only have 4 in, or just rage quit.
It's a technical pause. I need clarification from the admin, so yeah, we do need to get that 5th player reconnected, and just troubles down in Brazil there. I'll have to take him home to get himself back in. Assuming that is him. Is it him? Can we see the score for a second?
Yes, it is. You can take my word for it, Blue.
No? Okay, I trust
I've ever steered you wrong before?
A few times, actually.
Like when?
Well, I don't want to list them right now, but
It's never happened. Like an older brother to you, Blue.
all right, now you're just stealing tweets. I saw that one too.
Yeah, I know. Whitmer said it to me.
So yeah, hopefully ZQK jumps back in a moment. Maybe he did rage quit. That would be news, wouldn't it?
It would be.
First time
Who
pro
did,
league
who did Selfless beat, by the way?
I think Energy? CLG, excuse me. CLG.
How does Vendetta know all this? He's turned into the Thorin of NACS. He's just like back in week 3, map 2. Week 1.
Week 1, okay.
Wow.
Well, that explains it.
So they came out hot. Selfless came out hot.
That was when the roster was still somewhat stable, though. It was like week 2 and 3 where
they
it
came out. They just, you know, they got to leave some in the tank for later in the season.
They started off right, and they were like, all right, cool it down, guys. Cool it down.
Like the Ryu's gonna get mad at this, but like I think it's like the 2012 Lions that went 0-16. Kind of remind me of them.
Okay.
Just a mess.
Yeah, it's not a good look right now for Selfless's CS:GO team, unfortunately. So still waiting to get ZQK back in. I'm sure we'll get some updates soon, guys, on what exactly is going on here. But
what's that time difference like in Brazil? I have no idea.
It's I think it's 2 hours ahead of East Coast time.
2 hours ahead, so 5 hours ahead.
It was
of
2 hours. It was 2 hours ahead when I was there in October.
I mean, Brazil's a really big country.
Yeah, but it's all one time zone.
It is.
I'm pretty sure. Maybe I think like the very western part of it is like maybe in a different time zone, but it's like a pretty small portion.
Yeah. Gonna be honest. 2008 Lions? We're on 16. Okay.
So it looks like we'll have to wait for confirmation on it, guys.
We have our
We're still working on
fact-checkers
figuring out how this is gonna figure it out. It looks like, however, that we have some actually pretty bad internet issues for ZQK. So there is a possibility, it's not confirmed yet, but there is a possibility right now that we may end up getting a replacement for him into the match to try and finish it off, which means they will have lost their IGL, and that will only spell more problems for Selfless, unfortunately.
I'm telling you, Ryu's going to come in here.
What, you mean like the game or like just in here?
No, in the game.
Oh, okay.
He's going to be their 5th. Is there a roster rule anymore about how many players you could play with an app?
That was the thing like 3 or 4 seasons ago.
Yes, that was the thing forever.
Yeah, like when it was just the ESL League and whatnot. And it was even the thing like 2 seasons ago, because there was a team that at one point ran out and had to actually play a match like here, like 4v5, like on the mainstream. But I don't know.
We casted a match 4v5 last season?
No. It was like 2 seasons ago. It was with Moses that I did it with.
Wow.
So
what was that cast like?
Well, it was pretty quick. I'll say that much. Because that was like I think that was. Well, we didn't have the analyst desk then. It was just Moses and I.
After every round, I'd just be like, "Yep, it's 4v5." Yep.
It was. I think that was one of the SKDC rosters.
You could be like, ESL picks off another player at the start of this round. That's 16 rounds in a row. My goodness.
ESL just on a rampage.
Yeah.
I haven't died once.
Yeah. No, I wonder if they have it because, I mean, Selfless has got to be like the roster
The thing
limit,
is, though,
right?
yeah, but they do recycle quite a few players. It's just like the same 3 or 4 players that keep coming in and out.
The same. They just bench a new player every week.
I'm kidding you, though. It's like DSR and Dizzy that just keep trading places now every other match.
How do you feel if you're those guys, man?
It's just like Little League, man. You do bad the one game
10-day contracts, man. It's just 10-day contracts.
You're on the bench for the next match.
Jeez.
You have to watch from the coach slot in the next match.
Ryu's ruthless.
He's really doing his best to punish players that just don't meet up to his standards. That's it. There's no room for mistakes.
If you were gonna play for an org, Blue, which org would you want to play for?
I don't know. Probably Cloud9. You get a lot of Twitter followers for being on Cloud9.
That's true.
We were talking about this earlier with Slemmy. Like, Slemmy's Twitter account still has, like, Cloud9 stuff on it. And he literally has, like, never used it.
I'm going to change my Twitter account to Cloud9. I hope they don't sue me.
All right, guys. Well, we are still waiting, unfortunately, to figure out what's going on with Selfless's 5th player. So while we do that, we're going to send things over to a break, ladies and gentlemen. Stick with us. And as soon as we have more information, we'll be bringing it back to you right here at the ESL Pro League.
This is your chance to actually make it into the Pro League, be a professional Counter-Strike player.
That's the thing that Mountain Dew League provides.
Penguin, you know what? If anybody has a shot at 2-0 against Penguin, beautiful Counter-Strike. You usually only see that into the professional level of things.
We are one of the youngest team in top 20. many teams can underestimate us, and we can surprise them with our tactics, show our Polish power.
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.
All right, boys, apparently meme dreams do come true here. We found out what's happening. Ryu apparently not satisfied with ZQK's coaching ability or in IGLing, literally just DDoSed him out of the internet and is now
don't say this, Blue.
jumping into the match to take his place. That's not true, but he is coming into the match now, unfortunately, because ZQK's internet is...
Just get this out of the way.
So
Manager, coach, Glocks, 4 times, just whatever. Let's get it out of the way. All right.
It's all done. It's all done.
We did it all.
There we go.
I mean, he actually is like the triple threat. He's the coach, owner, and manager. He's the triple threat. Ryu's got it all.
Yeah, but that just means, like, what if you don't have any confidence in his calls? You can't, like, say anything to him because he's, like, your boss.
True.
So it's just like...
It's a dream situation for an in-game leader. You're fired.
It's like, oh, that's how you feel? All right, get out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should be getting him into the server now, guys, and resuming the match. So I think we're just waiting for him to join. He's on the ESL roster and everything already, so that's just a matter of getting him connected, and then we'll jump back into it here.
I can't believe they even cut to a commercial break. I had a lot more stuff I could have said.
Yeah, dude, we were having enthralling conversations about orgs and stuff. So.
Yeah.
But we are into it, and I think this is the first time in almost 2.5 years since Ryu has actually played for this roster. So.
And he starts with no money.
Yeah, so a bit of a rough start.
Starts with 800.
We'll see how he does. I think a little bit less than 2.5 years. Actually, I might have oversold that a little bit. But anyway, compLexity right into the thick of it. Def finding Nifty straight off the bat. Good response from Dizzy, however. And, well, Caboose getting knocked out as well, just right through the smoke. So putting this into a 4v2 with Ryu and CJ being the last 2 left alive. Swinging up towards the truck position, but probably not going to be able to do much in actually attempting this retake. I imagine CJ just trying to see if he can find anyone close up, and then if not, maybe positioning for exits. That would be the best hope at this point, as compLexity do have the round secured and a 5th as well.
Right, you're just saying you gotta trust the process. You know who Sam Hinkie is?
Nope.
You gotta trust the process, Blue.
I have heard that before, though. Oh, Surreal, Miami Heat. All right,
what?
So is that wrong?
Yes, it's absolutely wrong.
Was it a bait? Wait. Oh, I didn't realize this CJ was still hiding in the corner. Someone didn't find him, so he took down Surreal. But then Slemmy's able to trade
Now,
off.
the Heat is Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra.
Never really a fan of basketball, so that's all out of my element. As per usual, that we've figured out by this point. Into the second round now, and it's going to be another full save, unfortunately, with just a few upgraded pistols coming in for Selfless here. 5.7s, P250s, a CZ for Caboose. And the nade already connecting onto Ryu right from the start of the round here. Nifty, we're going to tag back in. Slammy swinging forward as well. Eliminates Nifty, knocking all of these CTs out of this set. They did leave the bomb behind in case it was stacked and they got upset in there so that they would be able to have someone come and retrieve it and try to swing over towards A really quickly. But speaking of A, well, Selfless have a lot of their players stacked in here currently. And Desi might have himself just a nice big old buffet of kills. There's 2. Trying to go for the 30. Did get dinked down to 24, however, so it's a little bit close up here. But Slemmy's coming in to help out. Last one alive is Caboose. He's hiding in the corner somewhere. Keep in mind, again, compLexity looking for the money, not necessarily just the frags here. So Desi hides himself away so as not to drop the AK. And compLexity win it with 5 men alive again.
This is rough, Blue.
a little bit.
This is rough.
But hey, Ryu's got a gun now, so it'll be time for some action.
He's out for blood. Who do you think has the best owner CS-wise? Probably Ryu. He's probably the best owner CS-wise.
Oh, like, in terms of, like, skill?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I would agree with that. The problem is you don't, like...
All the other owners, like, Jason Lake's like, no way. I'd crush this dude. Challenges him to a 1v1. Slemmy, get out of here. He joins the server.
That'd be an interesting concept for an event. Just 1v1 tournaments between the org owners. But Ryu's showing up when it's needed. I mean, and again, just a little bit of a minor history lesson for NA, in case anybody is not really familiar with this team when they were still enemy and whatnot. Ryu was actually like a full-time member of this team when they were still moving up in Premier and whatnot. I mean, he was their IGL in the past. This is not necessarily like completely like this isn't like the boldest thing in the world to have him suddenly jump back in, as he's done this before. And he did it for a pretty good amount of time.
I mean, they're afraid of his spot. They won't go to B. They know.
They know he's ready to frag back out here. As a few trades happen in mid. You can see Surreal trying to swing back in, but there's Ryu with one. Going back in for a second as well. CJ
He's
closing
back.
out on the two Vent players, and Selfless do indeed pick up their first gun round since getting Ryu into the server here. But still going to be a whole lot of cash that the CTs are going to have to burn through here on the T side. And just hopping over some bullets, going back in on the re-peek. Nice stuff from Steve. I think that's his name, right?
I think so.
It's like, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. It's like Radakaska or something like that.
No idea.
Well, Nifty now sitting back over here inside of the checkers, waiting for the complexity push to work its way over. And again, it's going to be just a direct play. But Nifty, we've already seen him before having some good shots, but now, unfortunately, missing that first one and being smoked off at both angles. There's not a whole lot he can actually do. Thankfully, he didn't have a teammate on the site that he would have just had to leave out for dry, so that will allow complexity free control of the B-bomb site. CJ still trying to help out a little bit from heaven, but him firing off those shots is just going to give him away over there. And now, complexity getting themselves in. They have allowed for Selfless, however, to have a pretty decent ability to try and at least move back in for a retake here. As the op still sits over in checkers with an ability to peek back out. Nifty going for it. Nifty and Caboose actually working together here. They saw that peek from Android a moment ago, and there's Nifty, but he did get dinked down to 5 HP and finding that kill. Desi trading, Android swinging in for 2. He's going to pick up Nifty and Caboose, but Caboose and Ryu trading some frags back. In fact, Ryu gets 2, but then goes down to death as he ends up with a double kill to finish off the round. But it is left to just that one player left alive, so still burning down the cash, but unfortunately for Selfless, they never built anything up here, so their money is right back to being really
twice
weak.
now, right after they went around, they just go straight to losing the next round.
We're looking at Ryu highlights.
Just Ryu highlights all day.
It's 2 rounds now. It's been all him. So back on to just an upgraded pistol round here for Selfless, and oh, okay. A little bit of a mistoss there, but doesn't do any damage, so. We can see Surreal going for the peek again. Unscoping at the wrong moment. As Nifty slowly trying to peek into it, sees it. But
Was that a miss?
I don't know.
Looked like it was right on him.
I think Nifty swung a little bit too far out for the shot that hit. I think it went a little bit to the right of his shoulder. So Slimmy's also just waiting for aggression to work its way out. Nifty trying to test it again. Desi knows he's hugging the left side. You can see him, but the smoke's actually obscuring it quite a bit. Distracts for Ryu, but unfortunately Ryu is not able to get the damage onto Desi there. And we do see Def also just pretty cleanly clearing out that A-bomb site. Desi moving in as well to finish off another kill against Nifty, and there you go. They already did some damage to CJ. He's done at 18 HP, so it's going to be an 8th round in a moment here for complexity. Desi to finish it off, so he ends up with a nice 3K on the round there. Pushing on A, just rebuilding the money really nicely here. It's tough, to say the least, for Selfless to really try and battle back in this. Even having to take, when they got the new player in, those 2 rounds or so to just rebuild Ryu's economy a bit so that they could all buy together. And even when they are going for the buys now, you can see it's not the greatest. You got 2 UMPs that they can actually get a little bit of extra utility. CJ's the only one that actually gets like a real full buy here. Nifty buys the op, but it's on a glass cannon purchase. Surreal hitting the first shot as well, but Ryu still decides to push out over behind the box on the wrap out around here through the corner. Nifty waiting for his own opportunity to try and re-peek out through team main, but there's no clear way to try and do this without instantly getting shot. And actually, I'm not sure if Surreal would have been able to see that, but the rifle did just kind of glitch through the wall a bit. So he may be waiting this out because he noticed that. But it isn't looking like the Opera is going to end up recommitting. He swings wide, though, but that's still an easy shot for Surreal to hit, so just finishes off the job. And now Ryu is the only player remaining to defend this B-bomb, so against the hit. They don't check this box, though. So Ryu, here's your turn for a big play. Sees the third, and now the fourth player moving in. There's one, tries to go for two, though, and unfortunately is traded out. So that's control of the B site gone to the way of compLexity. And even Slemmy waiting in mid counters out an early rotation from CJ, taking him down. And all of Selfless, the two remaining players at least, are going to be heavily split up with much more different focuses because of areas they spotted their own respective players in it. Caboose will be able to take down Slemmy at the very least. Dizzy also taking advantage upon Android here, so all of a sudden they've opened up a pretty decent opportunity for them to try and push back in at the very least, but they've got it in the perfect plant spot on the site, I think, and they've also got both their players already evacuated out to team A here, so Dizzy's left alone, and while he does give himself an option to open up on both of those T-sided players that pushed out, ultimately, he won't find either one of them, and compLexity went out yet another round.
Yep, and back on an eco for Selfless. So looking bleak again, but at least Ryu already has 5 kills. 5-5.
Yeah, he's going 1 for 1 every time.
He's actually been their shining star.
He's actually, what's the go for the scoreboard again? Where's he at? He's like right behind most of his players right now. He's doing better than Nifty, so all right, keep him in at this point. But him and the rest of his teammates are actually going to push through the mid choke point here, where Android is going to be waiting. He certainly knew something was up. He was spraying into that. But they're going to boost up on top here, and I think he saw that one too. So Dizzy getting hit. Whack-a-mole for Android here as he finally runs out of AK ammo. Caboose did trade a frag elsewhere onto Def there, but I think they'll give up on trying to go for these aggressive plays. As now Android sitting back is going to find Dizzy, taking him down. Yeah, and it should be a quick cleanup from this point to put a 10th round on the board for Cole. CJ just hugging the wall to hope that they come in 3-man and he can maybe punish 1 or 2 players there, but that would really be it. And I don't imagine compLexity really throwing this one away. There you go, CJ gets impatient and peeks out into it. So Surreal just shuts it down. compLexity into double digits as we go into the final round of the half, and Selfless at the very least getting themselves 1 more bye to close out said half.
What does Selfless's logo have to do with their name?
It's a lion. They say something about like pride and like the team or something like that because they're like selfless, and then obviously there's an S in the lion's mane.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you see the S?
That is cool.
Oh. There you go.
I like the S on the mane.
It used to just be a lion, but then they changed it to the S line, and that one's way better.
Yeah.
1 for 1 trade to start as they do push their way out through the squeaky hall. Oh, almost some good stuff from Dizzy. I'm amazed he even gets that extra kill there. And oh, Surreal finds Nifty. I think Nifty thought he was fully smoked off. Not the case. He's able to spot his legs there on the very bottom and take him up because of that. So, well, it was looking good for Selfless to try and trade at the beginning. It's gone back against itself now. And we do end up in a 3v2 with compLexity obviously slowing things down a little bit. They do want to make sure that nothing else upsets against them, since Selfless were playing pretty aggressive in this round. After some delay, I imagine they'll go right back to pushing an A, and what's even worse is that CD's rotating off this towards B, so he won't even be able to stop it. Cole are going to walk right onto an open site. Caboose completely disconnected from this one too, so they thought it went B completely for whatever reason there, and they took a risk.
They just gamble it. I mean, obviously it didn't work out, and now they're in almost an impossible situation. I mean, 2 Molotovs, 2 smokes, some flashbangs. I don't know how you retake this when it's planted for A-main. You have to have a well-placed molly from Caboose for starters.
Almost situation you'd see them saving here, but obviously we're on the 15th round, so we'll be seeing that. CJ just getting knocked right out. And Caboose, well, he'll just go for it, I imagine, swinging himself up. He does get all the way up to the site, and I think he noticed Android there. It doesn't matter, though, as compLexity still close out very quickly upon that round. And off of that, they hold a massive advantage coming off the first half here. 11-4 in their favor. We'll see if Ryu can lead his team to victory and to come back in the second half, guys. Stick with us for our final half of the night right here, ESL Pro League.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.
And we're back again, folks. Ryu's standing in due to ZQK's internet issues here, so we've got the stand-in for the stand-in once again on Selfless. And the stand-in is, interestingly, also the owner, manager, and officially coach for Selfless. So technically, he's not a stand-in, but by the definition of a stand-in, he is standing in. So just the whole...
He also plays on a standing desk. Did you know that?
There you go. So he's not just standing in, he's standing up as well, more than likely. But yeah, unfortunately, just still with all that confusion.
Helps your circulation, Blue.
Yeah, I guess so. It has other issues, though, is the problem. It's basically like you trade.
Yeah, like you can't sit down. Well, I mean, you can if you want to, but I mean, why would I?
There's like other, like if you work retail, you like know what that means, like just stand up in the same spot for too long. It like has those problems with it too. So just gotta make up your mind about what kind of health and physical issues you want to have in old age.
I'm surprised you knew about the Selfless logo and everything. You knew the whole backstory of that.
That's my job. I gotta know about these teams and these orgs.
I would have just been like, yeah, man, they just like lions. Lions are cool. What do you got against lions, man?
So into the pistol now. We'll see if compLexity. This is where they really shine back on Cobblestone, and we'll be able to check out and see if they'll be able to keep that kind of an advantage here on Cash. Where hopefully Selfless has a little better of a strap book, but I imagine with Ryu kind of having to step in at the very last second in the midst of the game, may not be the case. But they're slowly kind of crunching on towards B. They got the mid control, so they can move into the vents as well. And there's actually not a whole lot of... They play... Normally, it's like retake A setups.
One of them forgets to buy?
For...
Selfless.
Yeah, I think so, actually. Unless he just bought utility and already used it, but I don't think so. We haven't seen any smokes or anything coming out that I could recall. But they do get themselves into it. And yeah, Caboose, for whatever reason, didn't buy. So interesting.
I'll be honest, I forget to buy all the time. I'm always talking to my chat, and I just forget.
Maybe he's just streaming right now. Who knows? Well, we do see the guys on Selfless. I mean, it's worked out for them okay. As compLexity tried to go for like a retake on B setup here. They are pushing themselves back in, but they're losing too many players in the process. 2v3 now, and Android's kind of getting ripped up here. Desi having to do most of the legwork. It works out to bring it down to a 1v2 as Android sneaks up. Read the wrong side of the tree room player, though. So Nifty swings out, and it's Selfless that went out the second half pistol.
Team ace by Selfless. Now compLexity after losing that. We'll see if they force buy. They have a huge lead, and a lot of times if you have a lead like this, sometimes you don't. They opt to do it. We'll see how they set up. If they take a risk, they have 3 Deagles, a CZ, and a P250. So look for those Deagles to try to go for picks. But no, not many Molotovs on the Selfless side. Usually you see a lot of Molotovs on these anti-ecos, and Nifty just taking a huge risk like that.
Swinging directly out, and so do the rest of his teammates here too, but at the very least clearing out mid. It works out for them. And they're even going to send Caboose into Z too, where he could very easily get overwhelmed up close. And there you go, double peaked. Not trying to back up though, sticking to his ground. Ryu and Dizzy in the meantime do clear things out, but Android did trade out a kill, however, things are going okay. Slemmy finding another frag here, but a 2v3. Slemmy's already pretty heavily lit. They have Z control now, so Nifty's able to push back in and take him out from behind. So it's just Desi. A nice lineup on a Nifty as he freezes right into Desi's headshot area there. So he will take him out. And now in a 1v2. Desi's going to have to try to roll in pretty quickly, but again, into the wrong direction there. Was hoping there would still be someone waiting at truck. Not the case. Dizzy knocks him out, and Selfless do indeed follow through, not getting ecoed in the second round.
Yeah, that's really dangerous going up highway like that on your anti-ecos because, I mean, the crossfire is so strong around white truck, sight, and fork. What if that happens, right? You know, how do you stop that? I mean, they didn't even throw any Molotovs or anything towards those spots. So luckily for Selfless, compLexity wasn't really set up to deal with that very well.
And immediately we do see compLexity will try and kind of force the issue out on B with Desi pushing forward. The problem is they haven't suspected this might be a big stack on the site, but they realize it now, and thankfully they manage it without losing any of their own players here. Ryu is unfortunately going to burn Caboose as a result of the Molotov positioning, but still, it's down to Def now alone. Back over here by the truck position. Dizzy trying to headshot him, but it's a rough life at that range. So it ends up being Nifty instead. That finishes off the job with a Glock and allows for Selfless to go 7-11 as we get into the first gun round. See kind of the stack here. Didn't really play out, unfortunately. There's the Molly. Just caught Caboose in an unfortunate position, and he was already brought low from the duel with Android and the others out on the site. So, but now investment pulls through for compLexity. Unfortunately, utility really does not. Now, they only have smokes and flashbangs, and after they pre-smoke stuff, they're going to be rolling with a pretty low amount of these for actually like a post plant here. They push in, no, but CJ's ready. However, he's only able to get one, and now they're all kind of stacked up at the edge of Long B, and well, we see them still pushing into it. Slem even tags into their player here. Caboose is going to push against Desi, but Desi's able to hold to it, and now it's 3v2. Desi possibly looking for another one too. He saw Ryu pushing. They're both low. Ryu, I think, had a Molly or something in his hand from the looks of things.
No, just the Mac 10.
It always throws you off. But now Nifty's alone, and he's going to get knocked out by Def. So compLexity went out the round. I saw this like.
I know the Mag 10 looks so weird when you're holding it. Like your left arm is just like and your left arm is like you're hanging out a window.
Gangster style. Almost.
Yeah. No, it's like you're driving and you have your arm out the window almost.
And it's weird because it doesn't make sense in the view model because you're holding it with two hands in the view model in game. I'm pretty sure. You're not?
I don't know.
I think you are.
I'm just saying.
Is anybody Mac 10? No. I'm pretty sure you're still holding it with both hands like in the view model in game. So this looks really weird. Well, CJ pushing their way out here now into mid. Tries to go for the initial kill. I thought it was Desi was going to get it, but there's actually a lot of confusion, it seems. Caboose again picking up those first two initial kills, and he even gets he almost gets, I should say, a third one there, bringing Slemmy down extremely low. And now Nifty's going to try to push back in. He has the up lineup, but somehow misses the shot, recovers it for the second one, but does leave himself in the open. So after everything is said and done, Surreal is able to push out from Z, taking down Rio, and giving compLexity their 13th round.
That was a really nice job, though, by compLexity. You see when that mid-take happened, they took a calculated risk to give up A and to just have everybody basically funnel to middle and fight. And there was no smoke Z, so Selfless has to worry about that. They can maybe boost up vents. The A player came to highway, and they played retake A, and they just fought. And I think it's a really good strategy to use after Selfless tries to take mid control.
So, Selfless are just going to play this slowly in their Tech 9 round here, spreading out initially into the T default. But compLexity still has plenty of utility with which to hold them off, at least for the first minute or so of this round. They'll obviously save their Molotovs until the actual hit comes in. Selfless keeping the options open, keeping their players spread out, so not going to make a commitment anywhere just yet. Def already finding Nifty on an A main peak, however, through the smoke to take him down. And Dizzy still waits patiently in Z, but while losing his A main options, it does kind of limit his own potential to actually successfully be able to swing out onto that site without just getting immediately destroyed, since they still have presence watching out for that. Caboose, however, in mid, finds Surreal as he pushes out from behind the white box there, eliminating him, battling it back a little bit, putting us down to a 4v4, and there's still a 2-2 split, so you still only have two guys defending the site. Def got aggressive, though, pushed up to the forklift edge, and was able to pick up one kill, but Ryu, sneaky, also creeps up there and is able to trade on the Def, so now only having to worry about the player inside of quad. And while there will be reinforcements on the way, they're a bit hesitant to rotate, since Slemmy hasn't really heard anything else pushing into the site, or not even really any fake nades or anything being tossed in there. So they're just going to hold it 1-1 on the sites and keep Android as kind of a quick rotator with an SMG to assist if necessary. It's a good thing he's stuck close to B, though, as Selfless have decided to rotate in this direction, and for whatever reason, Ryu is paying attention for like a Vents player or something like that, so just turns his back, allows for Desi to frag out. Android comes in for the assist just in time to get the second kill. CJ does trade, but he's brought to low HP from the first player, so Android finishes it off, and compLexity push forward. Just 2 rounds away now from closing out the night 2-0.
Yeah, a bit of a stat pad match for Desi. 24-11.
Meanwhile, in the Selfless camp, things still not looking too great. Losing bonus obviously starting to stack up for them, but still can only go for half-buy investment with full utility, which actually is probably going to lead to most of their investment, I think, coming out into this round, since they just came off the gun round there. So Selfless swinging in pretty quickly. Molotov just going everywhere at this point. Dizzy finding a first kill as well. CJ tries to push forward. He gets traded out. Dizzy getting a second one, however. So Surreal's really your only player left. You can see the shadow on the ground, but can't find the player. And now Dizzy wraps around for the third one. They plant the bomb. Desi finally trades out that kill into Dizzy after he got a massive 3K, though. Ryu's on the site. They tried to smoke it. Desi got dinked, but still one out to Wall. And now I imagine he's going to slow things down a little bit. What he doesn't realize, though, is that there's an opponent sitting directly on the other side of those toxic barrels. And hello! Oh, he's going to knife his opponent right in the back there. And Android won't get very far with his A-main flank either.
Now compLexity, no money. So Dizzy hitting some nice shots over there. Wow. Those two shots were sick.
This last one as well. Surreal's so focused on holding off that smoke, doesn't even pay attention to the possible flank. I'm not going to be able to trade that until I think it was Desi that pushed up to finally kill him. And this will break compLexity down to just upgraded pistols and armor for those that can afford it. It's fast over into mid for Selfless this time. Not really wasting any time on getting that control either, as we can see Caboose already going up onto the white box. They do miss their chance to get any kills in mid, so they'll have to wait and see if compLexity try to re-peek into this, but they've got their staging ground to work off of here. There's a lot of presence from compLexity near Z, however. So they're getting ready in the event that someone's going to try and push or get aggressive here, and they actually bait CJ into full peeking that with the first player kind of shooting at him there from the initial peek area, and then the guy further inside is able to trick him, getting him into the full peek, so they get the first kill, bringing it down 5v4, with everyone on Selfless still kind of being stuck in mid. Now they move up highway, though, where Def will be spotted in the open, and Selfless will get their first kill here. But with all the presence in mid, they can very easily rotate into this site and have a large amount of truck presence. They don't have anyone pushing from A main, so they've got to push out against all of these pistols here. Thankfully, it's pretty clean at start as Caboose finds the first kill on Surreal. They're tagging away on the damage here. Slemmy finding one more onto Caboose. It's 3v3 still. Now, though, that Selfless did get across the gap and plant the bomb. It becomes an issue of positioning here. As Nifty finds one close up, Slemmy and Android able to work together to trade that back out. And Android specifically going to be moving in, Slemmy, by picking up the op to try and work with here. But he'll hit his teammate, I think, on the cross there. And now Android trying to move in a little bit more, but Selfless is remaining so quiet with their final two players positioning. Ryu sneaks in, finds one. Android is able to trade. He's looking for one more, trying to line up the headshot, but he's a little bit too slow on it. And Ryu does finish off the last 1v1, giving Selfless their 9th round.
Ryu's close to top fragging, man. What if he just makes himself a permanent player?
I told you, you can do that.
Do whatever he wants.
He's the owner.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There's no back talk either. You guys don't like this? All right. See you later. You can pack your bags and move out of the team house.
Do they have a team house?
Pretty sure they do. I don't know if the CS team is using it anymore. I think they have the Overwatch team in there now.
They got evicted. Pretty sure there's laws against that, man.
Well,
you could just squat in houses or something like that. Like, you go on vacation, somebody's there, you can't kick them out.
So Dizzy's gonna multi-frag in this round. Android being able to trade one back, but it's pretty short-lived. And now Slummy's alone in a 1v4, pushing himself forward. And
Bo was telling me about a Silicon Valley.
Oh, yeah.
And I haven't seen past the first season, but he said he Airbnb'd his house, and then he couldn't kick him out, and then they started Airbnb. The people who Airbnb'd his house start Airbnb'ing his house out.
That was a pretty good episode, actually. That was in the most recent season, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. You remind me a lot of the Silicon Valley boys.
Do I? Yeah. Thank you. Which one?
I don't know. Just messing around.
Well, Caboose finding Def straight off the bat here is Selfless keep up the aggression on this T side, and it's working out for them. Already knocking out Def. And compLexity trying to play close to the walls here on a lot of these sites, hoping that they can fend off the aggression right from the get-go of things. Desi will be next up to bat here versus Caboose, and he even did just peek him while he had a nade out, but Caboose spotting this one now, and he's got his gun in hand, ready to fight. I think him and Android are going to peek together. Caboose gets the kill. He does swing out looking for Desi, however, so a trade comes in, but this is still favored for Selfless, with all four of their players trying to push back in. Surreal trades as CJ picks up that first one, but now he's stuck on the back box. He would try to go for the molly there, but instead a molly works in his direction, and he's got to find nades, so he has to toss the smoke onto the ground. Slemmy did come in to assist and took down CJ, so he's good for right now. The real problem is that Ryu is waiting in the vents for him to eventually peek. And right now, Surreal has no reason to. Slemmy has all vision from up on top. The bomb went in the other direction, and Ryu really wants this kill on Surreal, so just waits for the smoke to fade. Tosses out the molly. That's going to burn him up. He was hoping Surreal Surreal was hoping that Ryu would peek in time, but it just didn't happen. So he doesn't successfully burn him out. But now it's a 1v2. Slemmy is going to rotate into it. Does read it before the bomb actually goes in the plant, so he will have the extra time to move into the site. But he still has to actually successfully pull off the 1v2. The good news is, though, is that Ryu is also still rotating over. Won't really be in a great position just as of yet. Slemmy taking it really slowly here, and he does not have a kit, and I doubt that there's one on the site. The molly in the back quad, though, should force Dizzy a little bit more into the open. His vision goes over there towards A main, though, and he finds Dizzy, but aim just all over the place. So Dizzy is going to win out in the 1v1 and give Selfless an 11th.
What's going on? 11-14 after that first half.
It's a Ryu IGL, dude.
I know.
This is why he was so mad when the coaching thing came out.
He's 14-12.
Yeah. Ryu just secretly in retirement, the best IGL for NA. Forget Jason R, dude. This was the true secret right here.
Yep.
Mad Fragger as well, apparently. All right, calm down. We see them too. I'm talking about Selfless here.
I think he's comparing Slemmy to Ryu.
You guys typed that stuff too fast. I didn't even read that one that time. No. Dot. So anyway, compLexity onto an eco here. And now playing a lot more passively. We already saw Android taking a few hits here, so they've all kind of fallen back, and it's all quiet across the map. As we wait for Selfless to kind of make the first move here. Android obviously being tagged since he's the mid player, so he gets pushed back and smoked out. But Slemmy already starting to rotate. They're actually just going to leave B open and gamble on it being an A push, which they'd be right about currently, but the problem is I think Caboose is possibly still going to move in to kind of investigate B first off, and that's where they'll find out it is an open site, and pull the bomb back and just rotate everyone in here.
Yeah, and the full A stack does not pay off, as they are going to go bomb to B. Ryu's in another spot where he can frag out. Might see some more kills.
CT is just waiting for them to try and go for peeks in mid. They may end up flanking them, though, if they keep it quiet enough here. Slemmy was found out over there towards B. They are still working to that mid-garage flank, and Ryu is working to lurk kind of all the way around here. CJ is paying attention to the garage. Ryu's going to see that it's open there, so they should get a pretty good idea that they might move out for a mid-flank here, and CJ looks towards it just in time. But he's even going to expect more now, since they pretty much checked everywhere else on the map. Desi, not a whole lot that he can do, and it's going to be a really clean round here for Selfless as they'll push on 12, just 2 more away, and they'll tie this up.
Desi just going to look to add some more kills to the scoreboard here. I think he's like 27-12 right now or something. No, probably not 12, but...
Nifty jumping up, but Nifty gets the better of him. 27-16 for him. Into the next buy for Colt, and it's going to be finally a really good buy too, as they do try for something a little bit different this time. Just going for a double op setup, which is the first time I think we've actually seen it so far in this map. Selfless obviously not being big fans of that one. And for the guys here on compLexity, just not really ever having the money to be able to buy up towards it. So finally they do go for it. It is at a bit of a risk since Def is not able to fully invest into utility and whatnot, but still. Now we do have compLexity splitting up their players and waiting for Selfless to go for the push out onto the A bomb site there. Slemmy, along with Def, are going to be first points of contact. Def gets molly though, and he doesn't choose to sit in it for any period of time. Instead, swings around out through quad, finds one, tagged down to 6 HP, so he's not going to dare to go for a repeat right now. Great nade from Dizzy though, does get the trade onto Def. And now Slemmy holding back while he's trying to wait for this one, but they weren't paying attention to mid, so Caboose swings right back up, gets 2 kills working with Ryu there, and even goes for a third one now as well. Shutting out Android. Was looking like we may finally have a successful compLexity hold, but no, it's down to Surreal all alone in a 1v4, and now he may not even get away. As they're pushing into it here, Caboose is going to spot him, but he was caught without his main weapon in hand. Now Surreal trying to flash back up here. He may try to go for it, hopefully find another kill or two. He can get that. Okay, great. But at the moment, not looking too good, as everyone on Selfless did fall back behind smokes. And it should allow for security in Selfless to pick up their 13th round.
Wow. Ryu has just like revitalized this team. 13-14. 16-12. It's pretty crazy. They're going to win this, Blue.
Are they?
Calling it right now.
Are you calling it?
They're going to win this.
They just jinxed it now. Plexi's going to like eco the next round and
Probably. Full USP eco.
and then they just win the last gun. Maybe Ryu is just adding like a new level of pressure since he's also the owner. You know how like you have like clutch or kick in MM? Now it's like clutch or I kick you from the team.
True.
You just do
They
that.
thrive under pressure. Caboose hit. This shot was really nice for Caboose right there.
No. Taking the big risk and swinging out that wide, but it pays off in a huge dividend. And now I think we're going into a tactical pause for compLexity. As they're going to need a moment here since things are not working out too great for them. You know, compLexity was 100% controlling the CT sides back over on Cobblestone, but it's no longer the case. Now they're struggling to even pick up a single round to get them up to 15 at least and guarantee OT. It might just be Selfless rounding the full comeback and winning this 16-14. The pacing that they're working on at this point. They built up huge money. They should be secure for the rest of the half with everything they have. I mean, there's really no negatives going on at this point for the Selfless T side. And so for the most part, they're able to weigh their aggression really confidently. compLexity always getting countered out and controlling, even controlling the CT's money very well. They're not letting them.
That last round was a nice little shot by them. I mean, they just volleyed towards A. They send Caboose out lurking towards mid. He's able to flank people. Communication issues by compLexity. They don't realize it.
Surreal pushing his way inside of A main there with really the only big gun on the team right now, trying to investigate. Selfless were never really big fans of going immediately into A main anyway, however, so he's not going to be able to find much in there. Selfless have been way more focused on like the mid control and making sure they push into the B halls early on here, so this has once again become the game plan. We can already see Nifty having Vents control there, but compLexity have sent a full 3 players over here. And I imagine that Surreal may rotate in a second here too once they detect that there's really no pressure outside of A main. Def should be able to hear all that action in mid. So Surreal's going to have to spend a moment probably checking to make sure there isn't just a highway push. But in comes the B play now from Selfless. While they haven't confirmed the bomb's presence just yet, you can already see Def starting to work towards a flank here, as he does spot one player on the back site, and the bomb kind of shifting around a little bit as there may be some uncertainty for the Selfless roster. But Nifty indeed finding the first kill against Desi. Now Android holding on the right barrels. He's not going to get anything either. Caboose takes him down. Still no trades at all from compLexity, and they all get pushed back completely. They'll sit on the outskirts of the site right now, but again, it's all 5 alive. They still have actually another smoke to toss up towards Heaven if they want to use that one. Finally, a kill comes out, however, as Def picks one up against Dizzy, but that's almost immediately traded back out by Nifty. And these last two, especially Surreal with the op still in hand, are going to want to get the heck out of here and save up for the next round. So no eco against the guys from Selfless. Nope. Putting a stop to the comeback just as it was about to become a reality. And for Surreal here, he's on a mission to save. Gives away his position with the kill into Caboose. And they do go hunting against him. Nade inside, he's able to dodge that. Taking down CJ as well. Ryu's next up to bat here. Let's see, can he stop him from saving the op? He's gonna get close, but oh, Surreal, some good stuff, but he jumps. Oh, and Nifty gets the headshot from on top of the van to drop that op right at the end of the round.
Yeah, so it's not going to affect them much of this round, not having that op to save, because Shiro could buy his own anyways, but it could affect them, the following round if they do lose this one, because he would still have enough money for another one. 14-14, Surreal going towards the middle. They're playing just a normal 2-1-2 setup.
And now, Selfless, pursuing quite a few players pretty early on here. Over
they're going to push him in.
Over towards Squeaky, and we can see them holding, obviously, for a few extra seconds in A main. compLexity specifically are going to push A main. Dizzy trying to contest against it, but he got destroyed by that nade, so he's going to have to get the heck out of there and make sure that he isn't immediately knocked back out. A little bit of a battle between the garage pallet here. As you can see players trying to spray against each other, but not a whole lot of success in that regard. And again, everything's just going to be held off for additional time while we wait to see where Selfless actually try to send themselves towards. A lot of pressure at A, so they may choose to swing things over to B again. It's maybe less defended in this round. Not necessarily correct, still just the even split. So
What is less defended because the rotator's so far away. And they don't have any fence control.
So events. They start to molly that off now over there from with their players that are still sitting on the outskirts of A main. Desi waiting just in the one and done corner here to wait for the impending push if it should come through. But again, like many of our teams over the past few days now, it's Selfless that are remaining really quiet right up until they go for the push here. They don't check that corner, so Desi's not going to get just one. He gets 3 frags against Nifty, Dizzy, and CJ. And now Caboose sitting back also gets countered out by Slemmy. It's up to Ryu, the new player jumping into the server. He gets 1, he gets 2, but he peeks right into Surreal, who will close out the round and put compLexity finally up to map point.
I mean, Ryu can only do so much.
His teammates did his best to set him up, but ultimately just wasn't enough.
It's a one-man army.
So this will push itself to round number 30. Like we mentioned a couple rounds back, Selfless had a boatload of cash, and while it has been slowly deteriorating over the past few rounds due to compLexity getting closer and closer, ultimately Selfless are still able to full buy into this last one, and that's fast out for mid control again. This has been crushing compLexity when they've done it before, so there has to be a little bit of worry now for them, as they've also split up their strats. It hasn't always been the same follow-up. Sometimes they've gone to vent, sometimes they've just taken quick highway control off of it, so they still can't really decisively send CTs or try to over-rotate based on this intel. As once again, they don't really do a whole lot to defend it, and they just let Selfless have it. So pushing up, however, Surreal is going to get the first kill this time, knocking out CJ. There is a player from the T side, Caboose, who's lurked his way all the way over here. Surreal able to spot it again, though. So he's picked up 2. Slemmy close up. You can definitely hear the player up on top. Ryu's been able to trade 1 onto depth, but now leaping back down. Nifty going to be working to try and knock out Slemmy, but he's still holding on. And maybe one more. No, Ryu will put him down. He's up to a 2K. He'd have to ace clutch this to take it to OT, as once again, he finds himself alone. There's the third lineup, and he knows where the last 2 are, I think. With the Molly going down, he'll try to restrict them. Surreal's going to push around it, though, as it's not the best Molly. But he can't peek this. It'll be right into his own death here. But what he can do is he can try to play it out to the 1v1. They're pushing against him, but they do push it together. So it's compLexity that close out on this match. Definitely a lot of worry with Ryu jumping into the server and almost propelling his team forward on T side to a victory, but it will not happen. And we will see compLexity doing 2-0 for the evening with a final map score here of 16-14.
Yeah, and finally, compLexity gets something going on the end there, that CT side. They give them as much room as they can, and then they, you know, crush their hopes and dreams.
Yeah, just send them home with a nice little surprise there at the end.
Surreal really turned up those last 2 rounds.
So once again, Surreal showing up as the big star, just like over on the last map for compLexity. And with that said, we can close it out for the night over here on the caster desk and send it over to the analysis desk to get their thoughts on Ryu's sudden stand-in and that miraculous turnaround of a T side for Selfless between the 2 maps here.
I think hide your kids, hide your wives. The Vince McMahon of CSGO has just arrived.
Coming in from nowhere with a steel chair to the back of compLexity.
It looks something like that when you paint this picture if you were to tell this story, right?
Yeah.
A coach.
A manager.
An
owner.
An owner. All things encompassed. Still not good enough there to get the W, but close.
Valiant effort. And honestly, with the kind of impact Ryu had, you kind of wonder why hasn't he been there all along, right? Like, instead of having a guy playing from Brazil with 150 to 170 ping, you have a guy who's got experience playing CS, albeit a while ago, but, you know, he clearly has kept, you know, his skills refreshed and in touch.
There's been some conditioning over there on that side.
Exactly. You know, he hasn't, you know, hidden away his mouse and keyboard during this, I guess, you know, extended off season for him. So, you know, maybe
extended off season,
right? So maybe he could have, you know, stepped in, or maybe he'll, you know, show himself again for next week.
No, there's a chance. We don't know anymore. In a CSGO, where anything is very much possible.
Lineup changes happening in the middle of a game.
Look, compLexity locks in first half. Okay, 11-4. This should bode well. This should say, okay, well, guess what?
Should be over.
We're going to take this pistol. We're going to take this first eco, anti-eco, whatever, all that good stuff. We're going home, taking it to the house. But that's not at all what happened. We saw it go to the full distance, the full length here, pressing the bounds of overtime. Yeah. What happened, Vendetta?
Well, a lot of stuff happened, really. Honestly, Selfless, they played more coordinated. They kept it simple in terms of what they wanted to do on their T side, but honestly, just focusing heavily on getting mid control and compLexity not figuring out a good way of actually doing anything about that. So a ton of map control was given away to Selfless for the better part of the T side, and they took good advantage of that.
Well, check this out. Okay, in case you have no idea what it is that we're actually talking about, who this Ryu guy is, or Selfless, or any of that stuff, maybe you should just load the VOD up and see it for yourself. You can check it out at youtube.com/ESLCS. Say it with me, Vendetta.
ESLCS.
Right. Okay. youtube.com/ESLCS. That is where you can find the VOD for this matchup, all of today's matchups, including EU.
The entire season.
The entire season, the whole thing. That's where you need to go to find them. And in all reality, that could be an interesting one to watch back if you know the storylines of the matchup.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. You know, I mean, just going into the game, it had pretty big impact for both teams, right? compLexity now with 2 wins today, kind of distancing themselves from that lower end of the table. And this was Selfless, one of their big chances of actually, getting out of relegation spots.
Well, Ryu came in on his own accord, I think, and tried to put some work in. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. Let's take a look now at the recap of the day from the mainstream. We've got the Immortals Rush matchup from earlier. We did see that 16-1 trouncing by Immortals over on Cobble. And then as we did get into the later matches of the night, 16-10 compLexity first map, and then we see them walk away with the second one, 16-14. So all in all, good for this compLexity lineup. Selfless better hit the drawing board real quick. I think is the safe assessment of what to do there.
Seems like they need Ryu to just be around that team at all times, because they definitely stepped up their play as soon as he came on the server. Or I guess CT side a bit rough, but T side, they got things going. So maybe he should just stay on the server as a looming presence the entire time.
Some players need that. Some teams need that so much
God in them,
force behind them or something like that to just kind of crack the whip. I mean, maybe it's not a situation where they're not doing the right thing. Maybe it's more of a situation where, the coach is around. We better sit up straight.
Exactly.
We better get on our A game. But hey, check this out. We're going to take a look now at the NA standings, and we pull those up in front of you. SK still reigning heavy at 13-1, Cloud9 behind them. Let's take a look towards the lower end of the pack. That's where we saw our action tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, the lower end of that, at least, would be Selfless sitting at 115. And then as we go up, Rush ahead of them, compLexity ahead of them, and then obviously Immortal sitting above all three of them.
Well, one of the big changes after tonight, though, is look at Renegades. They've made a bit of a jump.
They're on the way, fam. Yeah. They are on their way, which is good. Good for them. Let's take a look at EU standings now and see what's going on over there. Vendetta, do the honors.
North, obviously at the top, followed by their fellow Danes now. Astralis getting up to 10-6. Na'Vi, same score as well in third. Mouse Sports, not lagging far behind on fourth as well, so still within a playoff spot. Them and Hellraisers being kind of the surprises so far of the season. Virtus.pro with that last spot as of right now, that last playoff spot, and then NIP still climbing right now. And G2, well, they're not last anymore.
They're not last, and I don't think they're quite the least either. So on paper, they're not the least.
Definitely.
Look, I think at this point, it's safe to say that some of these teams are going to face a certain relegation. Some of these teams are going to face change. There's going to be a lot that happens to some of these teams going forward, and rightfully so, because some of them need it.
Oh, definitely. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Obviously, there's a time and place for when you want to go through those changes, and I think teams can definitely learn, a better approach to that. But yeah, I think at this point of the season, we kind of know what teams are going to be fighting for survival.
Well, survival being important to some teams, but in fact, more important across the entire board is ESL Season 5 Pro League Finals in Dallas at the Verizon Theater. Check out right now, www.proleague.com/Dallas. Couldn't say that any more monotone than I possibly did, but I'm sure it rings the message across, because if you haven't got your tickets to this point, well, that's just unfortunate. I feel as though you've let me down personally, and I take heavy offense to that. And I'm sure Vendetta, you've upset him too.
And definitely.
So take a look there. Look, we've got Dallas, but then let's take a look at tomorrow's matches, because we got a long way until then. As they do come up, SK Renegades, Energy, Luminosity. We got the doubleheader of Brazilian Counter-Strike tomorrow.
Yeah, pretty solid matchups, actually. Renegades being, finding their form right now, climbing up the ladder. SK obviously sitting at the very top, so doing well for themselves. Should be an interesting game if Renegades of late show up. And then, obviously, Energy doing so well for themselves so far this season, going up against another of the surprise teams in Luminosity.
Well, even on the second stream, you're going to have Misfits and Optic and Cloud9 and CLG. And even so much more that this Cloud9 CLG matchup is what could be way closer than it would have been at the beginning of the season.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, the one win that Selfless has was versus CLG.
Right.
So CLG have come a long way, to put it that way. Selfless, take it a few steps back.
Take it a few steps back, hit that whiteboard, see what you got going for you. You know what, Vendetta? I'm going to give you an open forum right now to say anything you would like to North American Counter-Strike.
Please stop changing lineups. Like, pretty please. Just try to play with a stable 5 for at least, 2 weeks in a row. I think that showed massive improvement. Honestly, team that played best team Counter-Strike today, Rush.
They did do that. They definitely killed it on Overpass.
Yeah. So I think, that's something to learn from that. Sticking together, working through your issues, not changing players every other week or every other day for that matter. And, put in some work there.
Well, look, the way you look me in my eyes when you say that is very enticing. Yeah. But we're going to have to end the stream here, unfortunately. We're going to be back tomorrow for the last and final day of this week here at ESL Pro League North America. We'll be back. See ya.